This is the third edition of the Responsible Mining Index report. What are the key findings and what stands out for the Responsible Mining Foundation after 6 years of ESG assessment?
Before we look at some of the results of the latest RMI report, it is worth reminding ourselves of the context of why we focus on responsible mining. Well, we know by now that mining is an indispensable industry. The energy transition is just one prominent example of that. Yet there is a constant tension between society's need for the products of mining and the harmful impacts that mining can and does cause. So society finds itself in a constant conflict of conscience when it comes to the mining industry. Now, this report measures how a sample of mining companies are responding to the economic, environmental, social, and governance expectations of society. But the same companies that can show that they are making some progress on ESG policies and procedures could at the same time be a company that causes harm to people and environments in any number of ways. So this is the contradiction that we have when we try to encourage continuous improvement. So the reason the Responsible Mining Foundation and many others work to normalize responsible mining is exactly because of the potential harm that mining can cause. The report covers 40 large mining companies who together represent around 30% of the value of global production. These companies are responsible for around 1,000 operational and closed mine sites across 53 countries, and they include listed, private, and state-owned entities. We also cover 250 mine sites. These are selected from the mine sites across all the countries and across, obviously, the companies. So why do we select the mine sites and have a particular look at mine site detail? Because mine sites matter, as this is where most salient harm can happen to people and environments, where the impacts of climate change are evident. So it is important to observe whether company systems are in fact being implemented as intended at the operations. The thematic areas that we cover include economic development, business conduct, life cycle management, community well-being, working conditions, environmental responsibility. And then if you look on the right of your screen, you'll see that we also provide insight on a number of transversals or cross-cutting issues that are embedded within the thematic areas. And these are human rights, gender, harm prevention, and climate change. As an overall observation, it is good to note that one does see signs of continuous improvement. Things are moving in the right direction, although with some slowing down now in 2022. The overall results for 2020 showed an average increase of 16% on the previous report, and the 22 report now shows an average increase of 11%. So as I said, some slowing down. Given the fact, though, that most companies have showed substantive profits of late, one cannot ascribe this slowing down of momentum to the pandemic alone. So we do have questions to ask about the slowing down. Here you see that each bar represents one of the 40 companies in the report. The chart represents the overall momentum of improvement, with the lowest scoring companies on the right of the chart showing an average 41% increase on their previous results. This was very encouraging to see. Whereas the better performing companies on the left of the chart show only an average 8% improvement. Clearly, there's some catching up happening, and it is encouraging to see that this is not only at the level of new commitments, but also around various implementation measures. At the same time, one should question why the better performing companies are slowing their momentum towards responsible mining practices. Do they feel that they are doing okay compared to their peers? That this is good enough? Are the leaders displaying ESG fatigue or not being meaningfully challenged by investors and regulators? So one wonders. Looking at the vertical space, though, the open space above the bars, it's clear that there's still a long way to go to reach the expectations of society on responsible mining. Now, if we look at the mine site level, the most important finding we see is the lack of disaggregated evidence at the mine site level. Here we've measured only 15, but of the most basic elements affecting local people, workers, and the environment. On the screen, you will see 4 sets of results, and these are related particularly to local employment, water quality, community grievance, and worker safety. Each dot that you see there represents one of the 250 assessed mine sites, and the grey dots indicate where sites show no evidence at all of informing and engaging with communities and workers on these salient issues. These are not new issues, and local employment, for example, is very often the very motivation for the local social license to operate. So how is it that so few sites share any information on this at all? Now here is a composite view showing the huge gap in mine site data on the most basic issues. Again, in this case, each bar represents one of the 250 mine sites. And at the extreme right of the chart, there's a gap for the 16 mine sites that show no information at all on any of these issues. So this seems to show a significant disparity between declared corporate systems and the systematic implementation of those systems at operational level.